From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
As a trades business owner, have you ever been owed money and you don't have the time or money to chase it up yourself? What if you could have somebody else sort it out and you don't have to fork out the coin up front? Welcome to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. I've been mentoring trades and builders since 2003. Today's first guest is John Ross from Effective Recoveries. Welcome, John. So the name says it all, doesn't it? Effective Recoveries.
It does.
So I've got a couple of questions before we actually start talking about what you do to actually help people get their money in. If we go a few years back, I've got to ask you this. When you were at school, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A marine engineer.
A marine engineer. I didn't know that. You ended up taking a different path.
I took 12 months off school,
Yep.
money in the pocket, couldn't go back.
So why did you want to do that?
I don't know, just got money, went into finance, Commonwealth Bank,
Okay.
steady job,
Yep.
it paid every week.
Okay. And so is there anything that I suppose in your teenage years or your 20s that somebody ever said to you, you can't do that, or you sort of rebelled or anything like that? Tell me about your personality in your earlier years. Not saying that you're old now, but in your earlier years.
No, I transformed the line, wanted to kick on within the bank.
Yep.
Did many things within the bank, got into commercial lending, claim to fame, I got shot at in the hold-up, survived. So,
I didn't know that as well. I mean, we've known each other for a good couple of years, and here's some new things popping up.
Never asked. So, no, I did all that in football.
Okay, so I'm learning you wanted to be a marine biologist.
No, marine engineer.
Marine engineer, and you've been shot at.
Yes.
Okay, so there's two things that are quite interesting. So you've pretty much been in the finance game most of your life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So how long were you in the finance game as far as lending money? How long were you doing that for?
Oh, it would have been probably 30 years.
Yep.
Yeah, within the bank and private enterprise. So got a good broad spectrum of what was out there and what's needed, and the running of businesses. So that sort of helped going into what I'm doing now. So,
and were you mainly doing this for other people, or were you working for yourself? Or
no, I was at Commonwealth Bank for 23 years, and then I went and joined a private enterprise in Geelong.
Yep.
For about 6.
Yep.
And that's. I didn't start doing this until myself in the debt collection side of it.
Okay. And what has sort of kept you in the finance industry? I mean, you've got a stack of experience there. What's actually kept you there? Because some people think after a while, it's not for me, I'm going to go and try something else. I
just think it's the ability to be able to help people.
Yep.
First of all, giving money out. Now I'm helping people get it back in.
Yep.
I just enjoy the whole spectrum of the finance game.
And did you have anybody that actually was a positive influence on you when you were in the industry, or people that you learned from, or a mentor or anything like that?
Oh, not so much for the finance game.
Yep.
But on the debt collection side, I learned from very good people.
Yep.
In the debt collection. I did debt collection in the bank.
Yep.
But not to the extreme that I'm doing now.
Okay.
But I had a really good influence.
And at that point there, like how many hours a week would have you been working?
In the debt collection side of it?
No, in your first part where you were actually lending money.
Oh, I would have been doing probably the 40, 45 hours.
Pretty cruisy.
Pretty cruisy back then, yes. Does that include networking?
It depends what your networking is. I'm not sure if that's actually
classified as work.
Frothies,
yes. Yes, yeah. Well, it's marketing, it's networking.
Okay. All right. What are your interests outside of work?
Family.
Yep.
Family, sport. That's generally it at the moment.
Do you holiday much, or?
Oh, I'm starting to now. My wife's finally got a passport, so we're venturing overseas again this year. So
what do you mean finally got one?
My wife didn't want to travel outside of Australia.
She's never had one before, or?
No, never had one.
Wow.
Never had one.
Okay.
So we're venturing now. Went overseas last year, doing it again this year. So you're getting away with the family, taking the daughter with us. So
if you've never had one before and you're, let's say, in your 40s, It'd be a little bit of a hard task actually getting a brand new passport if you've never had one before, collecting all the paperwork, getting everything organised.
Oh, it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah.
See, I've had one before.
Yeah.
So here's something else you don't know about. So I lived overseas for the first 8 years of my life.
Whereabouts was that?
New Guinea for 4 years,
Yeah.
and Singapore for 3.
Yep.
Father was in the army, so I
And
travelled a lot.
have you worked with the first part of your career? Have you worked mostly in Victoria or?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, predominantly in Victoria.
So you're
in
very well networked. You actually know everybody who you need to know.
Most people I need to know, yes,
Yeah.
and they know me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What would be some of your things when you look back your early or your previous life in lending money that you think your some proud moments or some accomplishments for you and for other people?
Oh, it's just predominantly in commercial lending.
Yep.
And it was just getting those deals done.
Yep.
The latter part of the year was third party, dealing with brokers.
Mm-hmm.
So building up the rapport with brokers.
Yep.
So you're able to help more people than just what you were close to.
Yep.
So and getting a reputation, a good reputation, honest reputation.
Yep.
And that's what I pride myself on.
Yeah. And in that period of time, what were some things that happened that within the industry, some changes or some things that went backwards, or what were some of the key points?
Well, I went through the GFC. GFC is virtually what made me get out of the lending.
Yep.
The company I was with at the time went under, like most of the small private lenders.
Yep.
But besides that, working third-party brokers,
Yep.
that was good.
Yep.
Achievements, I started with the Commonwealth Development Bank. That's how old I am.
Yep.
Which was predominantly
What? Sorry.
the Commonwealth Development Bank.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
It was the lender of last resort.
Okay.
So it was actually an agent for all banks. So you got to see a really diverse side of what businesses and farming, a lot of rural stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, in that assistance side of things.
I
They do
suppose-
things that no one else would do.
I suppose you'd remember the State Bank then, wouldn't you?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I remember the merge.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
Really showing age here now, aren't I?
Yes. I only remember that because I saw something posted somewhere.
On the History Channel.
Yes, that's it. So look, when we come back from the break, what we're going to do is I'd like to talk to you about. Debt collection's such a used word, not always in a good way.
No,
And it's like people saying, "Oh, I'd like to add value to your business," and I'm going to say, "Look, just say what you mean."
Yeah. Credit management is a smoother word to use rather than debt collection.
Yeah. So, look, when we come back from the break, we're going to go through what you do at the moment.
Yep.
We're going to go through how you can actually help trades and builders, and I suppose you can tell us about some of the reasons why it might work, or actually might not work.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, look, you're watching the Trades and Builders Business Show. My name is Miles Primrose. We'll be back with you very soon.
This is Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose. We're here with John Ross. So, John, how long have you been working with trades and builders to help them get their money in sooner, I suppose? How long have you been doing that?
9 years now.
9 years?
Yeah.
That's a fair crack. So I've got a couple of questions for you. So, why would there be a need for a debt collector?
It assists the business in downtime.
Yep.
So the advantage of getting a debt collector or a third party in is we allow them, the business, to concentrate on what they do best. That's bringing their own money in. It's a timely thing, phone calls, it's better to hand it out and let someone else do it. That's what we do.
Okay.
So the main aim is to take the pressure off the client.
Yep. And what could you say how would you describe the benefits for the trades business owner, for example? What would the benefits be of using somebody like you?
We take the emotion out of the collection.
Yep.
I suppose it's more than anything. A lot of the work we get is chasing long-time clients, friends, family. If we get involved, we don't have that emotional connection and we just concentrate on getting the money in.
And look, in some cases, some people might say, look, I've actually known this person for a while, so you can actually go in softly or you can go in another way.
It's a question we ask.
Yeah.
It is a question we ask. Are they a repetitive client?
Yeah.
If they are, we're always protecting the client's brand.
Yeah.
So we'll go in softer,
yeah,
or we'll go in a little bit harder.
Yeah. And I suppose when somebody actually hears you, depending on the person, I mean, they're probably going to stand up and think, oh, geez, I have left this a bit long, I need to take it seriously, or they're just going to, some of them might jump to attention and actually just get it sorted out pretty quickly within a couple of weeks or something.
Some will,
yeah,
and then there are those that are intent on not paying at all,
yeah,
and we'll try and prolong it a bit more, and that's what we find out.
Yeah.
And we'll find out why they won't pay.
Yeah.
We'll find reasons they won't tell the client.
Yeah.
So that all helps.
Okay. And a question, I suppose, I believe I know the answer to this, but how old can a debt be? 6
years is the statute limit. So you've got 6 years to commence and chase the action. If someone gets a judgment, they can get 12 to 15 years to chase. So it's not put aside. So that's the main point. And it's never too late to start, sorry.
What do you mean put aside? What do you mean by that? You said it's not put aside.
Well, a lot of clients will just write a debt off and not worry about it.
Yep.
So quite often we will get a debt that's suddenly 4 years old, 5 years old, hadn't thought about it. Yeah. And just through us talking to the clients and bringing that to their attention, they'll decide, let's have another crack at it.
Okay. So explain to me, like, what are the services available? I mean, there might be a few different things that you do for business owners.
So we assist in the back office. We assist them set up their back offices. The thing you always hear is terms, which obviously we can count on. Mediation. We'll do things like skip tracing, which is finding people. And they're just some of the other services we offer.
Okay. How does skip tracing work?
So skip tracing is when your debtor decides he doesn't want to be found.
Yep.
There are services that are available.
Hey, you said he. Is it always...
Sorry, they. Sorry. It's where the debtor doesn't want to be found and moves on, and that there are agencies, and we outsource a lot of that, that can, through their own channels, try and locate the people.
Yeah. And you've got a pretty good track record of being able to find people?
The couple of companies we use, they've got a reasonable record.
Yeah.
Some people just don't want to be found though.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what's out there.
Okay.
And where they are.
So the other thing you mentioned, so you've got skip tracing. You spoke about the back office and the terms and conditions.
Yep.
So what do you see as people not doing what they should be doing as far as the terms and conditions? And is there varying degrees of how those things will be set up?
Terms and conditions are important. That's one of the things we try to push.
Yep.
Must be done before you sign the clients up.
Yep.
Have cost clauses in them, have legal clauses to enable the client to chase and on forward those costs.
Yep.
And it's important to have them and have the client acknowledge it, the debtor acknowledge it. And that's what we stress. That's a big push.
What would be, if you look at the terms and conditions, what would be some key points in those terms and conditions which, when you've given them to somebody, that they look, I didn't even realise I could say that, or I didn't even knew that existed? What would be some key points in that?
Key points is debt collection costs, commissions.
Yep.
If the client acknowledges before you sign, we actually will chase them as well.
Yep.
So if I'm chasing $10,000 in our fees too, we'll chase for 12.
Okay.
It just enables, if they need to go legal, those costs can be put on as well. So they're important.
Yeah.
And it has to be acknowledged before you start the job. That's the important part about it.
And at what stage do people normally contact you, like on how old a debt is? Is it just say somebody's put an invoice out, their terms are normally 28 days?
Yep.
Past the due date, what on average do you find is an amount of time where people pick up the phone and said, can I have a chat, can you help me?
Unfortunately, the average is probably around about 6 months.
Yep.
People need to consider that banks consider anything over 90 days to be bad debt. So the sooner you act and get onto a debtor, the better it's going to be for you to try and chase them down.
Yep.
So but we'd like to see it around about the 90 days, 90 to 120 days.
Okay. And tell me about what's the importance of invoicing, and I suppose invoicing correctly.
Invoicing is very important. You need to know who you're invoicing, as in the entity. You need to know that the company is there. It's the right company that you're invoicing, that the people, the addresses, these are all important things and they're cost effective to do it. ASIC searches, you can do an ASIC search for nothing.
An active ABN, for example, or?
Yep. Go onto the ASIC website, check that the ABN they give you is correct. It's the entity that you're invoicing.
The address matches.
There's no use invoicing Bob if Bob hasn't got an address, and you'd be surprised how much of this we see.
So you've had people give you an invoice and it's sort of like a dud invoice, isn't it? Dud details, I suppose.
Yeah, dud details.
Yeah.
As I said, I've been asked to chase money for Bob.
Yeah.
Bob was the bloke in the yard.
Yeah.
So he just wrote down Bob. Didn't put the company, didn't put the address or anything. So it's important that you invoice who you want the money from.
And it's really, I don't know, frustrating is the right word, but you've got to think about these trades business owners. They're working hard. Most of them have got high standards in what they do. They're trying to do the right thing. Somebody's just giving them some random details and they've taken it on face value. That's what it is. They go and do the work and then they've lost.
That's right. That's why we always say quote.
Yeah.
If you can, quote first, get those details, check them up.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with individuals, get a copy of the driver's licence.
So delinquent clients, I suppose we've sort of spoken about that, but how can they be avoided?
By doing those checks, which are free checks.
Yeah.
That the company exists, the company hasn't been wound up.
Yeah.
The ABN's correct.
Yeah.
Just Google, great tool to use.
Yeah.
Google the people that you're going to do the work for. If it's another business, make sure they're around, make sure they exist.
Okay. Now, mediation. How does that work? Does it work? How often does that happen?
It does work.
Yeah.
As I said, if you've got two parties that just don't want to come together, you can come in between them. As I said again, there's no emotion in it. You're just trying to act for both sides. They've usually got someone acting for them, and you're generally talking to them. So you can keep the parties apart, so that you've got something that's going to work. And most of the times it does.
Okay. I suppose the last thing I want to finish up with is two things. You've got a brand new trades business they're about to set themselves up,
Yep.
and you've got an existing one that's been running for a few years. What bit of advice would you give to the new businesses about to set themselves up with what you do to actually help them? And what bit of advice would you give to the more established trades business owner to make sure that they've got things in order?
The new business, we'd like to chat to them, make sure they get their terms set up from the start, see what their processes are going to be, make sure they follow it, just to make sure that they get off on the right foot. For existing businesses, every time we get a debt, we ask to see the terms. So if an existing business hasn't got terms, we'd like to say then, let's get something set up. It's never too late to get your terms set up.
Okay. Now, are you like a lawyer where if I come and see you, you're going to charge me $500 for the first hour when we first meet?
I'd like to, but no, I'm not. No, most debt collection agencies work on a no-win, no-fee basis. So, and that's what we do. No, we work on a no-resolution, no-fee basis. And most scale, depending on the amount of the debt and what you get in. So, yeah, and that's the other thing that's an advantage of going to a debt collector is that they will do the work, and if we can't do it, then the next step is to go legal, and we'll give that advice as to where to go.
So if there's a refrigeration, air conditioning tradesperson that's going to come and see you, and they've got a debt that is a little bit old, not too old, so you're saying that you'll chase the debt, but up until the point of you getting the money, they don't need to pay anything?
No.
No, they don't have to pay anything?
No, they don't pay anything.
Wow, that's
unless we're outsourcing something like in the skip trace.
Yeah.
Where we're outsourcing, but no, we don't get paid unless we succeed.
Okay. And how much would like a skip trace be? What would be the cost for that type of thing?
Skip trace, depending on who you use, anywhere from $175 up to $330.
Okay.
Depends on how much they want to be found.
All right. So it's not expensive,
and you can claim it, obviously.
Fair enough. All right. Well, John, thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Appreciate it.
We are on the Trades and Builders Business Show. My name is Miles Primrose, and after the break, well, I wish I could say my last name properly. My name's Miles Primrose, that's better. We're going to be talking to Chris from Air Zero. Back with you soon.
This is Ticker. Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Good morning, my name's Miles Primrose. Welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm here with Chris Carusis from Air Zero. He has built up a pretty cool business quite quickly. Da-dong. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me.
No problems. Look, we will talk about your business in its current form in the moment, but I've got to ask you the question. At what stage did you decide to be a tradie?
Well, it actually started when I was younger. So when I was about 3-4 years old, I was actually in a modelling competition with my sister.
Oh my God.
Not by choice. You know, it's a mum thing, push you. Anyway, my dad is actually a refrigeration mechanic, so we got put up on stage and the MC asked us what we want to do when we grow up, and I turned around and said, I want to be a fridge mechanic just like my dad. And 20 years later, I started my apprenticeship, so yeah.
Who did you start your apprenticeship with?
My dad.
Okay. So the goal and the plan worked out.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really planned. I had different ventures, different goals. I always wanted to do like event management and organise events.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just my dad turned around and asked me when I was 24. Once I came back from all my travels, do you want to come work with me?
Excellent.
So, yeah.
When you were growing up, were you ever told that you actually can't do something, or there's something you sort of rebelled against, or anything like that?
If someone tells me to do something or
Yeah.
wants me to do something,
Yeah.
I'll rebel against them. So
Okay.
I won't do it.
Okay.
I'll do.
What would an example be?
So probably when my mum tells me to do something or she's against something that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Sorry, mum. I'll probably do it.
Yeah.
Not out of spite, but I don't like being controlled.
Okay.
In what I want to do with my ventures. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, it's like me when you go to a restaurant and they come over and they go, enjoy. I'm going, well, let me decide whether I'm going to enjoy it or not, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
you don't have to tell me to enjoy it.
That's it. So.
What was your first experience with the industry?
It was probably when I was young, as a kid.
Yep.
Helping my dad at the factory building fridges.
What age was this?
He was working from home, so
Yep.
it was basically from I can start walking. The age I
Yep.
can start walking. So I was around the industry pretty much my whole life. As I started getting older, I never thought I would actually do it. But then, I did my apprenticeship. I enjoyed the people I was doing my apprenticeship with.
Yep.
Through school, through that I've now got a business partner who I went to trade school with. So yeah.
It's funny, like some parents, when their children are growing up, they might make sure that they teach them how to swim, or maybe teach them to do some maybe some sports or certain things. I can just visualise you at the back pulling a fridge apart and putting it back together, and
that and eating. So the Greeks would try and force you to eat. So that's one of my other passions, is eating.
so I suppose that would mean souvlaki's, or really good souvlaki's.
Souvlaki's is one of my favourites. So it's definitely number one on the list.
So how would you describe your apprenticeship? And I suppose what I mean by that is, did you feel working with your father was the best thing? Did you learn well from him? Or what was the relationship like? Being with him during the day, and then how did that work?
It was, look, I loved it, because like we're kind of very similar in how we do things. You know, we're very calm. We never get angry at each other. You know, there's some disagreements here and there, but at the end, we work it out. That's our job. You know, we're gonna get the best result for the end customer. So we put our heads together, and like he is an old school fridgie, so there's a lot of stuff that they teach you these days at trade school, which, you know, I've learned from him in a different way. So I can implement that into the work that I do every day, and I could probably diagnose something a bit quicker than what I've learnt from trade school.
Yep.
Because of the skills that I've learned from him. So yeah, it was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
So you're the hybrid. If you've got the new you and the
new and
old technology.
That's it. Yeah. So and it's good. I think it's a good thing because now I can go back and teach him stuff that I've learnt. So yeah.
So you've got the combination of the analog and the digital world.
That's it.
So who was your inspiration growing up?
On a work sense or?
Oh, well, either or.
I'd probably say Beyonce. Nah.
There's nothing wrong with that. She's pretty successful.
She is, but...
hang on. Have you ever been to see her?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So,
is it on the list?
It's on to the left of my list, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it more on your partner's list or your list?
Probably my list, yeah.
Okay, yep. Yeah. So who would be a business inspiration?
Probably Miles Primrose.
Please stop it in 10 minutes.
It's I look up to Richard Branson and the way he's entrepreneured his life.
Yep.
And people like that.
Yeah.
Because it's inspiring. It gives you a sense of hope and a direction, and go, well, he started from nothing. He's created this massive company, and he's pushing further. He wants to go into space, and you just look at that and go, well, the world's your oyster. So yeah.
So after the break, we're going to have a chat about how we met. You did the workshop that I run, and we'll go through that pretty quickly. But the other thing also is after the break is what I want to talk to you about is you, to me, are the poster boy for work-life balance.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a chat about that when we come back. You're watching the Trades and Builders Business Show. My name's Miles Primrose. We'll be back with you pretty soon.
This is Ticker.
From Ticker, this is the Trades and Builders Business Show with Miles Primrose.
Welcome back to the Trades and Builders Business Show. I'm Miles Primrose and we're here with Chris from Air Zero. He's got a pretty cool business. G'day Chris, welcome back.
Thanks, mate.
So a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, obviously we connected through one of your friends.
Yep.
And then you came to have a chat to me about the workshop that I run.
Correct.
Why was that important to you to sort of look at a bit of development?
I was fresh into the game on my own, so I did, I worked with my dad in the past, but we didn't really have a business structure.
Yep.
So I wanted to build a business structure before I started growing.
That's the smartest thing to do.
So that we don't have faults along the line. Yes, you're always going to run into faults.
Yep.
But you're going to minimise those faults by having a structure, having your vision, your where you want to be.
Yeah.
So that includes systems.
What was how clear were you on the big picture direction before you started with me?
Not clear at all. I knew I wanted to start a business.
Yep.
I knew that working with my dad and doing refrigeration was not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go down the path of air conditioning.
Yep. So why is that? There's two sort of similar but different areas.
So refrigeration's a lot more like commercial.
Yep.
You're always under people's feet, working in kitchens, and it wasn't. I always went home and I wasn't happy with.
Not your passion.
It wasn't my passion. No.
Yeah.
With air conditioning, like we walk into people's places, we take them from 40 degrees to 22. You leave their place and they're
instant satisfaction almost.
Instant satisfaction,
Yeah.
And they're thanking you, and it's just the gratitude that you receive.
Yeah.
You go home and you feel like you've done something good for the day. It makes you want to go back to work the next day.
In a coffee shop, they're probably walking all over you, going, "Well, you're not finished yet. What's going on?"
You do get coffees often. That's the
You're
upside.
buzzing when you get home.
That's it. But there wasn't much of a satisfaction from that.
Yeah.
As opposed to you could do 2-3 air conditioners a day, and the customer is.
So is this in residential houses? Is this in offices?
Yeah. So we at the moment we do a lot of residential.
Yeah.
We're slowly moving into the commercial
office space or.
Yes, a lot of shop fronts like cafes.
Yep.
I'm actually working with my dad at the moment at a shop in Hawthorne. So he's doing all the refrigeration. We're doing all the air conditioning.
So you're going back to the cafes, but doing something different.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's So that's where we're going, and like I said, we enjoy it. We go home happy every day.
So okay. So you've got clarity around the big picture.
Yep.
You've got a lot of systems in place.
Yep.
Two other questions, like what are some other things that you were actually looking for, and what are some things that you actually learned through the program where it's what you don't know that you don't know?
Well, that's right. There's a lot of things that would seem like common sense.
Yep.
But then once you've actually done something like the workshop, it actually clarifies everything for you.
Yep.
So it gives you a direction. It makes sure that you're doing things right, and I think that's very important. Very important.
Some people say to me that and like you've said, they know they've got to do certain things, but after them going through the program, they actually don't realise how much needs to be done.
Yeah.
And also because there's a lot of different specialists, they think, I didn't even know that type of person existed before.
Well, funny you say that, because I was thinking about it the other day. I never knew what a creative copywriter was.
Yeah.
What is a creative copywriter?
Yeah.
And I learned that. Doing our budgets, doing our forecasts, that's something that, you sit there and go, oh, this money's coming in, but it's going out at the same time.
Yeah.
And you don't actually have a vision of your next year's budget.
Yeah.
So that's something that really clarified up as well. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. So the other thing that, to me, the thing that inspires me about you is your work-life balance.
Yes.
Now, you are the absolute king when it comes to this. And the reason I'm saying this is, you might go overseas twice a year. You might take a couple of holidays in Australia as well. People talk about this, but they don't actually do it.
No.
How long have you been doing that? And like, how do you feel when you come back?
It revitalises you. You know, like there's weeks that we work 70 hours a week, not on the actual tools, but you know, you got paperwork, you've got everything else,
upkeep, maintenance,
you've got cleaning, you've got So your cars, we make sure our cars are cleaned every Sunday, second Sunday.
Yep.
You know, and that's it takes time, and that's classed as your working hours.
Yep.
So it's I try and take an international trip once a year.
Sometimes two.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year was 2.
Yeah. So tell me, can you tell me where you went in the last 12 months?
Okay, I went to
Greece.
I went to Greece.
Yes.
Went to Europe, so
Yep.
we did Croatia.
Yep.
Italy,
Yep.
Greece.
What did you take photos of?
Cats.
Cats.
My Instagram is full of cats. I love cats.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because they're pricks of
Yeah.
animals. But yeah, so it's
And what's the difference between a souvlaki over there and a souvlaki here?
the price. A lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper over there.
So you get to eat a lot more.
Yeah.
For the bang for the buck.
Okay.
But it's authentic there too. You know, here it's a bit modernised
Yep.
in Australian way. So
Okay. So when you're over there, you're on holiday.
yeah.
Have you switched off? What's happening?
It takes me probably 3 or 4 days to switch off.
Yeah.
So once I'm on the plane, I know that, you know, like it's a bit of I'm free to go.
Yeah.
But it still takes me about 3 or 4 days to switch off. And once I've switched off, I'm ready to rock and roll. So.
And I remember when you came back from Greece, like I know I was following you on your posts and I was commenting on every cat photo and
Yeah.
everything. Obviously, I like cats as well, and I think it was just a fun journey actually watching you with. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
Cats, food.
I don't like to post much on social media,
Yeah.
but if I do, it's going to be something interesting. So.
Well, to me, it's what you're doing is the opposite of other people, where other
Yeah.
people are just going
Yeah.
selfie.
Yeah.
You're the ginger cat, black cat.
Yeah,
You know.
the cats of Greece.
Yeah. So I remember you coming back, and within a couple of days you coming back, we had a quick phone call.
Yep.
And it was something like, you weren't your normal self. You were good. You were
Yeah.
relaxed, but it was like, yeah, I need to come in and see you. It was like, it really to me it was a great thing that you called,
Yeah.
but it really was about a check-in,
Yeah.
helping you get realigned to
Yeah.
actually set yourself up for the next 6 months or so.
Yep.
And to me, that's another great thing, because if anybody's using a coach or a mentor, I mean, I get some people saying, can you call me once a month? I'll say,
Yeah.
no, I won't. Why not? I said, well, I'm not going to be your parent.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong, you call me,
Yeah.
and we'll work through it. Now, you've done that, which is another great thing.
Yeah. I did it quite often.
Well, you do great things.
No, well, I'll call you too. Yeah.
You do. So to me, that leads on to this reason why you've actually built a pretty good business at, how old are you?
33.
33.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about a couple of the big things that have happened recently?
Well, we just converted to a company. So
Yes.
Jimmy and I have converted to a company the 1st of the 1st, 2020.
Yep.
So it gives us in 10 years' time, we can see, you know, the next decade
Yep.
where we've come.
Yep.
We've actually purchased our first commercial property. So we've got a factory which we're settling on in 2 days' time. So
Fantastic.
that's it's
So
exciting.
it's all coming together.
It is. So
And so you've got a business partner. You've
Yep.
got a commercial premises.
Yep.
You've set up a new legal structure.
Yep.
So what about growing the team? What's the plan for that?
That's the next stage. So like I said before, we want to make sure everything's Mickey Mouse before we go to that next level,
Yep.
which is bringing people on.
Yep.
And we feel like we're very close to that. Now that we've got the factory, we're going to set that up the way we want it.
Yep.
It gives us a base.
Yep.
And everything on the back end, legality-wise, is all sorted. So yeah.
Would you say that you've made any sacrifices along the way to get to the great point where you're at? So like massive working weeks or anything like that?
I think so, yes, but I haven't let it interfere with my life either. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's been days where we've worked late or we've worked a Saturday, sometimes even a Sunday. But, you know, if we've got something on, then we'll have to make it work around that. But, you know, yes, there is times that we've worked 7 days a week, but it's, at the end of the day, you know, as we grow bigger, that'll start dropping for us, you know, and we'll have more people on and they'll be taking roles and, you know, but as you grow a business, at the start of a business, if you're not working 60, 70 hours a week doing a job that you love, and I feel like it's very hard to get to that end goal.
Okay. So look, I've got time for 2 more questions, and one question is, how do you celebrate your wins?
Generally, we'd probably organise like a little pub crawl.
Yep.
So with the group of us, we'll go out and kind of celebrate, go out and pub crawl. We try and do that twice a year. Yeah, so that's probably it.
And my last question is for tradespeople, either people that are sort of been working for a while, maybe under an ABN, and they're ready to do something else of their own, or somebody that's maybe been in business for 3 or 4 years, and they're scratching their head thinking, because I know there's a lot of people that I talk to, it's like, do I work on my business? Yes, I do. No, I don't. And they go backwards and forwards. What would your advice be to them?
I feel like if you're a great tradesman, I would probably work on your business side, because they come hand in hand. You know, you can be a great tradesman but really bad at business, and that's what's going to let you down, is your business side of it. So if you can personally develop yourself in the business side, it's gonna you'll be kicking goals.
So what about if they say, I'm going to try and do it all myself? What would you say to them? What I mean by that is not get help from somebody else.
I'd say don't do that, because I feel like you do need to outsource. There's a lot of things now that we're at our peak, and moving forward we're going to start outsourcing. We'll get, you know, bookkeep a couple of days a week. We'll get, you know, more staff on, and start using a lot more systems and software that are going to help us do our job, because that frees up our time to take us to that creative corner and develop the business where we want it. So
All right. So last thing, what does the next 12 months look like for you? What's going to be one exciting thing that you would actually like to see happen in your business?
We want to get probably about 2 people on. At minimum. And so I think that's the next goal.
So an apprentice and a qualified, or?
I think that's the way it's going to be. It'll be an apprentice or nearly qualified. So a 3rd or 4th year. But that's where we're going to be.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time on the
Thank
show.
you. Thanks for having me.
My name is Miles Primrose. You're on the Trades and Builders Business Show. Look forward to talking with you on Tuesday next week.
This is Ticker, your new source for news.